Hey, everybody, what is up? Pete, how's it going? We got Pete in the house. We've got the ass head. What's going on, guys? P. Roland. Very nice. Man, I've been waiting all day for this show just because it was Friday and I wanted to come out earlier today for a smoke and kept trying to come out here for a cigar and kept getting interrupted meetings and stuff like that and just never got a chance to. How is everyone doing tonight? Your first question probably is, where the heck are Caesar and Rob? Those guys played hooky tonight. Rob, I guess, is sick, and Caesar had to work late. So, Mike, my boy, what's up? Adam Wolf, Tony Costa, hey, guys. Kevin, Cigar Prop, what's going on, man? Awesome. Got some good folks in the house already. I'm excited about tonight's show. We get to talk about the Humidimeter. Once the guys show up. Yeah, so like I was saying, Caesar and Rob played hooky tonight. So it's going to be just me. And then, of course, Lou and Tom, once they show up from CigarMedics. How's everyone doing tonight? How was your week, man? How'd the week go for everyone? My week was pretty darn good. Except for today. I'm kind of in a bummer mood today, but Wednesday, holy cow, Wednesday I had a fantastic day. And what are you guys smoking tonight? I will be smoking the 2020 Four Kicks, the cigar, wow, the 2020 Crowned Heads Four Kicks limited edition. Only took me about 15 tries to get that out. So this sucked. I'm sorry, Tony. Sorry to hear that, man. That's a bummer. Jason Falkenberg, nice. And we got Mike in the house. We got all kinds of people in the house. And we also have our guests. Let me bring them into the stream here. Hey, guys. I cannot hear anything. Are you there?
What's up, Vic? Can you hear us?
Oh, here it comes. Hold on. That was my bad. I had my volume all the way down.
Are we good?
You're good, man. Fantastic. Although now you stopped. You froze up.
Uh-oh. Jeez.
There you go. It's probably just a little stuttery is all. How's it going, guys?
What's going on? It's going great. I've been looking forward to this all day, Vic.
Awesome. It's been a while since I chatted with you guys, and I also have been looking forward to it. I couldn't wait to talk to you again.
Thanks for having us, Vic.
So, what are you guys smoking tonight?
Go ahead. First time I smoked it, I got a short run, Rocky Patel short run.
Oh, nice. Okay. Very cool. Oh, you froze up again.
I just smoked this tonight.
Oh, the Juarez.
That's a great cigar.
It is a fantastic cigar. I'm smoking Crowned Heads as well. But before I smoke it up, I am going to test it with my CigarMedics Humidimeter. I cannot wait to talk to you guys about this thing tonight. I had some people in one of the groups I'm in reach out and say, I had to ask you a couple questions. So what you out there? 68. Nice. I took mine out. I'm at 65.
Oh, good.
And I mean, I've seen Tom, but Lou, I haven't seen you yet, man. I mean, your face, because you were disguised last time I saw you
Oh,
on a show.
with Kevin, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
I had the glasses and everything. I just needed the hat, see, and the beard.
Yeah. All right. So I'm experiencing a delay with you guys. It kind of freezes up a little bit. So everyone, just bear with us. If there's a delay, I'll just wait until I get the whole question from you or whatever.
No.
Yeah, it froze up for a minute, but it's back now. I think it's just it might be on my side. I don't know.
We hear you. Okay.
Are you guys going through a cellular connection, or do you have Wi-Fi?
It's Wi-Fi through cable line. We have a good signal right now.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason it keeps freezing up a little bit, but we'll get through it. Guys, man, I'm excited to talk to you tonight. So I guess for starters, why don't you give us just a little bit of history of CigarMedics and the Humidimeter?
I'm going to see if I can switch over. Maybe I can get you on a better connection here, Vic.
Okay.
You know what? No, I won't be able to do that right now.
Am I freezing up for you guys?
No, not really. A little bit, but not much. We have our IT pro coming in now, so maybe he can help us out.
What's going on?
We're freezing up.
Shoddy internet, maybe?
Hey, did you want to ask us? Vic, we have a third member here too.
Nice. Who's this?
Giovanni.
Giovanni. How's it going?
We're all family here.
Nice. It's good to see you guys. I like your banner up in the back there. That's cool.
Thank you.
I've got my for everyone out in the chat, I've got my cold brew on tap tonight, a fantastic Brazilian single origin called Black Panther, and it's amazing.
Cool. Taking a nice cold beverage. Yeah.
There you go.
Lagunitas.
There you go. All right. So, yeah. So, tell me a little bit about that. Okay. How did it come about? How did CigarMedics come about, and the Humidimeter, and just kind of give us the start of it all.
By experimenting with dry cigars, and in the process of him experimenting with the dry cigars, and I don't even know if you know this, you may know this, but we were making a device to kind of, honestly, that's still in the works, but we'll keep the story kind of short. And in that process, we were trying to figure out a way to test if we were adding too much or too little moisture to the cigar. And we started looking for a device. We couldn't find a device, so we made the device simply. That's pretty much. He's getting delayed.
Yeah. Yeah, I got the end of it there. Sorry about that, guys.
I wonder if
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
we got a strong signal.
We're hearing you just fine, and we're not getting any delay. You say that we're delayed?
Yeah, it freezes up. But it switches back and forth between the video and the voice. One or the other freezes up on me.
Where's the extender at, Luke?
I have one. It's in the kitchen there. It's right up here. So,
All right, hold on. Let me.
If you're on the Wi-Fi, you might want to get off of that.
All right, let's troubleshoot real quick here, Vic, so everybody could hear us. Vic, can you hear us all right?
Right now I'm hearing you fine. There, it froze up.
So we can't tell when it freezes up because everything on our end seems fine.
yeah, we can see you and hear you fine.
So just give us a heads up when we're talking too much and you can't hear us.
Okay, did you guys hear me say that it froze up?
Yeah.
Yeah, after, yeah.
Okay, that's weird. It's really weird. Usually, I only see this problem when the other side has a poor connection.
So Johnny's going to check the connection right now. It shows that we have a full signal. So hopefully it gets a little better here.
Yeah, I don't want this show to get messed up tonight because I've got questions for you. It's good. The other guys. Oh yeah, in the comments they said you guys keep breaking up as well.
Jeez.
Let me. I'm going to switch over to another Wi-Fi signal.
That's cool.
I'm still on the original one.
Did you try the extender?
No, not yet. I'm going to try it right now.
Okay, 'cause I got off the original.
Okay, we're going
Sounds good.
to try another.
I'm surprised it's still letting you stay in the room. Have you switched over yet?
Yeah, we just switched over.
How is it?
Oh, it never dropped out. That's crazy. No, it's freezing up still. Uh-oh, did I lose you totally? There, you're back now. Hey, guys in the chat, how is their end for you guys?
Okay. Try connecting to the extender now.
The extender?
Yeah, Kevin's saying the same thing. It seems like it's on you guys' end.
Are you
It could
on
be
the
because
new
of
one?
the high definition camera. Is there a way to tune it down?
Yeah, maybe.
You can change your
Use
you
your
can change
webcam
the
camera.
video quality to like 720 or something.
It says it's connected to the extender. We'll see what happens now.
Is that a good connection?
That's full.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that better than the?
It seems
We'll
to be
see.
better
We'll
now.
see.
Are you guys hearing me?
It's been going on and off.
From our end, it's not too bad.
It really wasn't bad at all on our end. Are we out?
I'm not sure.
No, you guys are there.
We're dropping any F-bombs just in case.
Yeah.
we're
Did
still
we
on.
connect?
We're connected now, yeah.
We
Did he let you in? No, did you get on the page? Because I had you on.
move. Add to stream.
We knocked him out.
Are you guys? Can you guys hear me? Okay, I haven't had this problem before. I can see you guys, I can hear you guys, but you
Switch your
can't.
camera.
Shouldn't have to. Just change the Wi-Fi, that's all.
You got a better signal on the extender, yeah.
Yeah.
And I got off of my devices. It's just in case, so all the. But
I
now
like
what's
your little
happening?
tiki torture.
What do you think?
It's cute.
I love aficianado.
Oh, that's
That's
cool
live.
too.
We're on.
Your backyard.
All right, guys, hold on. I'm gonna
We're
uh,
live.
Oh.
Let me text them real quick.
All right, Kevin says we're still live, so I guess we'll continue the show. What
Can you
happened to
guys
Vic?
see?
I
Can
don't
you guys
know. He's
see
not
me?
on there, so
They can't see
I'll
me.
take over. Go ahead. You can be Vic.
All right.
What the heck?
Let's
Okay,
show.
wait a minute. I'll drop
Let's
myself
show the
down.
meter in action. Let's see if we get any questions. Can we see the questions?
There he is.
He's back. Is that
All right.
better?
I don't know what the heck happened. Yeah, everything seems a lot better now, guys.
All right.
I was in there yelling. I was doing a strip dance and everything. Nobody saw me.
All right, Vic. Hit us now. Let's see what you got.
All right, guys. Fantastic. Okay, so why don't you guys recap real quick the start?
Okay, so basically, I tried to come up with a way. Remember, you had those Navy SEAL cigars that you were trying to bring back to life, and how long?
Yeah.
I was trying to find a way to do that within a few minutes, without, because I'm not a patient guy. You know, knowing that you have to allow the cigar to properly acclimate. Well, anyway, I was actually quite successful at doing that. The problem is we didn't know how much moisture was too much. There was no way of checking it. So I went online, started Googling moisture meter for cigars, and all I came up with was these $3,000-$4,000 units that you see Steve Saka use, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So I got the wheels roll. I'm like, well, you know what? That might be a useful tool, even more useful than the Rejuvenator. Maybe let's come out with this, because this could help people that buy, you know, mail order cigars, I've been smoking 35 years myself. Sometimes I don't know what I'm pulling out of a humidor. I mean, I assume it's right, but how many times have you had like a bad cigar that you smoke one day, and then like a month later it actually gets better and you don't understand why, and you think it's aging, but I think a lot of it is just strictly acclimation, So we came up with this meter, but we knew that in coming out with this thing, Vic, that we didn't want to just come out with something that was truly just a gadget. I had to put a lot of time and effort into the calibration of this thing, because in talking to people that actually make moisture meters, a lot of them don't even go into the depths that I went to, because I was actually using black tobacco, which is obviously cigar tobacco, right?
Uh-huh.
So a lot of these guys that make these meters are doing them for the cigarette industry, for burley tobacco. The difference being that cigar tobacco is fermented, which cigarette tobacco is not, right? So I did about 6 to 8 months of just crazy rigorous testing to come up with a way to find a calibration, because really our meter is not a humidity meter, it's a moisture meter.
Right.
Similar to what you see woodworkers, carpenters use, building inspectors, guys that cut firewood. It's a moisture meter. But the problem is, Vic, as you know, most cigars to be smokable are usually in the 12 to 15% range. Now, you know that, right? But how many cigar smokers know that number? So if we came up with this meter and it showed 13%, most guys would be like, I don't know how to associate that to a humidity. They know humidity because that's what keep their ambient temperature in their humidors. But so that's where we had to also come up with an extra conversion, not just to detect the moisture in fermented cigar tobacco, but actually to be able to associate it to a humidity. And all the scientific guys will say that you have to have a temperature to base humidity, because humidity changes with temperature. So basically what we did, we use a baseline of 70 degrees, because that's about where most cigar smokers smoke cigars, and that's what we did our calculation on. So I mean, if you smoke a cigar at 80 or 90 or 50, it'll be a little bit different, but not a lot. So this is basically a conversion unit to actually check the moisture in your cigar in all essence.
So one of the you hit on some points there that segue into my next question. One of my subscribers asked me to ask you guys, how can it really work? Because I think somebody told them this. You can't. Well, I mean, you basically explained it, but the question was that you can't measure the moisture in wood and the moisture in cigars in the same way. And you pretty much just described it. You have to go through that conversion process and stuff. But basically, the way this thing is working, and correct me if I'm wrong, but basically what it's doing is it's creating a small current. And if you connect that circuit, so to speak, between the two probes, that's where you're getting your measurement.
Right. It's measuring the conductivity in the water itself. It's the water that actually shows the conductivity.
So it's completely plausible, feasible, and scientifically accurate, or able to be done.
Right. So the only real problem sometimes you run into with the meter is that, on a really loosely packed cigar, like a Drew Estates factory smoke or something like that, where it's really very loosely packed, sometimes in those cases you might have to actually compress the top and bottom of the foot to get a better reading.
Right.
But typically you don't. I mean, most cigars, most Nicaraguan cigars, you don't have to do that. But you can absolutely check moisture content. In fact, the factories in Nicaragua, they have fancy ones too. That's how they do it. They have the ones like Steve Saka has.
Right.
Inspection purposes. They don't have those on the floor because you can't afford to have that dropped and broken. And then the other thing is, I can almost say with great faith that I have probably spent more time developing the calibration for this meter than probably some of the most expensive ones. People discount it because it's $30. See, if you look at Steve Saka's meter, or the guys that like the Placencia has or Rocky Patel have in their factories, when you look at that meter, there's not $3,000 of circuitry and resistors and diodes in there. It's because you're paying for the time for the guy who had to develop that meter, because they only make 5 or 10 of those at a time, not 3,000 or 4,000. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So because economies, because like I explained to somebody else, if this meter did not exist and you didn't want to buy one, Vic, and you came to me and said, hey, can you develop a meter? I would say the same exact meter that I have, if I'm only making one, I'd have to charge you $4,000 or $5,000 for it, because it's my time, right? So that's what we get. We get a lot of people that say it's a hoax. And I think I heard you say that on the preview show yesterday, and that's the first time I ever heard of hoax. Now, I've heard of gimmick.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the problem is I take great offense to that, because I worked my butt off to make this affordable tool for cigar smokers, so they would stop wasting cigars that are over or under humidified. I mean, I get it. It's probably not for everybody. And maybe if you're gonna buy your cigars, put them in a humidor. If you have a well-established, regulated humidor and you keep them there for 3 months, you probably don't need this thing, right? I'm not trying to sell it. Johnny and Tommy are giving me a bad look right now. I'm sorry. But if you do that, it'll give time for cigars to come down or up depending on where they're at, But
yeah,
the greatest use for this is when you do mail order. For me personally, I have really started. I mean, at the beginning, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to check every cigar I smoke. But now it's like a little game with me, because like yourself, Vic, you've been smoking many years. You have a pretty good eye and smell and feel for it, But sometimes I've been fooled, because sometimes if you get a really tightly packed cigar, that gives you the impression that it's dry. And I've actually had the opposite happen, So
right. Yeah, I totally agree that it may not. Well, okay, so I would make the argument, and you guys know at the start of this thing, when Kevin first started talking about this, that was me. I was the skeptic. I was saying it's a gimmick. You don't really need something like that. But having had one now for, I don't know how long I've had it, but it's been quite a while, and going through actually testing it and using it, and also something I've noticed is that so Caesar and Rob couldn't be on the show tonight. Rob was sick and Caesar had to work late, but Caesar had made a comment that he used one and it just seemed to keep dropping. He said it stopped for a minute and then it kept dropping, and it stopped for a minute, And I was like, well, dude, there's a reason why that was happening. It was settling in to where your cigar was. And then I told him about sort of pinching it to make a better contact and stuff. But I do think that you're right. It may not be for everyone. And I think like people that do a lot of mail order or something like that, it is a great investment for sure for that. But at the price, and I'm validating that it works. I mean, I can't scientifically say, well, I did this, this, and that to prove that it works. But anecdotally, I did a lot of testing and stuff, and it works. And I would say that at the price, it's a super tool to have.
Well, one of the things that a lot of people, usually when the cigar is on the drier side, so on the back of the card, we tell people not to use any more than 10 seconds. So when you click the unit on, there's a light. That light stays on for 10 seconds.
Okay.
So I recommend, because usually on a drier cigar, you'll start seeing it perpetually drop, okay? You don't usually see that with a more moist cigar.
Right.
So what I usually tell people, if you poke it and it says 72, then it'll go to 67, and then it might go to 66. Well, that first digit where it just drops one digit is about where I would stop it. So anywhere between 5 to 10 seconds, and you don't have to go any further than that. I mean, there's no reason to go any further and wait till 3 minutes later. It's useless to do that,
Right.
Because especially in a drier cigar, when you poke through, you've created holes now, and you're not making good contact anymore. So you want that reading only to be 5 to 10 seconds in, and that's it. So, and then the other thing that people don't do that they forget, and I actually reminded Kevin because I forgot about it, because all of a sudden I'm checking low, is to wipe the tips once in a while with a little alcohol. Because cigars have natural oils. Those oils do not conduct. They impede the reading of it electrically. So sometimes if you don't see the oils on there, they look like they're clean visibly, you still have to go and clean them. You don't have to use alcohol every time. Just use a cloth or whatever you got laying around. But it is important to periodically clean those tips for sure.
Oh yeah. So I took quite a while to clean the probes my first time, and I had stuck a lot of cigars. And when I cleaned it, there was residue on the towelette.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's a lot.
so I mean, it was very, very dim, or not very much, but it did leave a mark. So I was like, wow, I need to clean these more often.
Yeah.
But that was when I shortly after I got it, and I was sticking cigars a lot and stuff to test.
We're getting some good questions in the chat room, Vic. If you want to go ahead and answer, we want us to answer them. We'll be more than happy to. So
yeah. So this one that's on the screen, can you touch on the variance between the foot and the cap, which you guys kind of mentioned already, but go ahead and talk to that.
Yeah, good question, Jason. Thank you for tuning in. So the foot is an open part of the cigar, right? So what happens is the majority of the humidity in your humidor enters in through the foot, not around the wrapper or anything else. So it takes a long time for cigars. If you have cigars that come in from a reputable house and they're checking 47 and it's in cellophane, you know how long that cigar is going to take to acclimate? Months, months.
Oh, in the cellophane? Yeah.
Even in the cellophane obviously is permeable to water vapor. It's not porous, but it acts as a barrier. It's obviously a barrier. So
Right.
all the humidity enters in through the foot and travels to the cap. But when it gets to the cap, it stops there. It's trapped. So consequently, what you get, and this happens 95% of the time, the cap, when you check the cap, it's almost always higher than the foot. Okay? So I always check the cap as well. And a lot of naysayers will, well, you're poking the cap, now you're destroying the cigar. Well, even if you don't smoke it right then and there, there's nothing wrong with getting pure ventilation through the cigar, even with those two holes, right?
Yeah.
You never want humidity trapped. I mean, you own a home, right? What happens when you trap humidity in an enclosed space? You get mold,
Mold.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So I tell people it's okay to cut your cigar and even poke it with the humidimeter. I mean, you're going to get a little bit of flow through there, but that's okay. It'll be equalized then. Now you're getting equalized flow through the cigar as far as moisture, So That's the variance is because the cap is closed and it can't escape. So, and if you actually check a cigar that's been sitting for, I mean, long time, like aging, you'll see it most of the time it's pretty equal. Now we've done the tests on those too.
Really?
Yeah. And,
So-
and then another phenomenon that I noticed in all my testing is when you're trying to bring back a dry cigar, because the moisture actually comes in from the foot will actually show more moisture than the cap because it's traveling through there until it actually equalizes and then it retards back to the foot, you know. So
Okay, that makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
so
That's,
that's the only time where you'll ever see the foot maybe a little higher than the cap. But for the most part, the cap, because it's enclosed, is always checking a little bit higher.
Here's one at 72.
Now, see, that's a little bit damp for me. I
Yeah,
wouldn't smoke. Yeah, I wouldn't smoke one that high personally. You know.
For me too. I just got these from my first order from Neptune Cigar. I'd never ordered from them before, and they put a pretty damp water pillow in there. So yeah, that's a little bit much for me too. But in Arizona, I only have to dry box it for about an hour, and I'm good to go.
Yeah, I bet. Can you check the cap on that, or you think it's sacrilege to do that?
Oh no, I'll do it. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, just out of curiosity. That's all.
So let's see. Make sure we're on here. Oh, let it settle down here a little bit.
What is it?
It's 77.
Oh my God!
77 at the cap.
Now you know.
So now I've got some holes
Right.
there for
How
ventilation.
does that feel to you? Like, you know, you're a long time smoker. Does that feel like it's ready to be smoked, or does it feel a little damp? You know.
Well, yeah, and a good trick that I learned in bushcraft, which actually works for cigars as well, is if you take something that has a little bit of moisture in it and you hold it against like your cheek or your neck, something that more sensitive skin, and it feels kind of cool, that's a way that you can tell that there's moisture in it. In bushcraft, they do that to tell if the wood is dry enough to get a fire started or not.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
And it actually, it's more difficult with cigars. There has to be a big variance in your cigars. Generally, you just get, you can just tell if the cigar is way too much or
Right.
or dry.
Now, if you smoke that tonight, Vic, and you dry box another one and let it sit for a couple of days, you'll see a huge difference, you know, on that smoke.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you guys touched on this because I came late to the party, but a lot of people use it for rotating their cigars and their larger humidors as well. The humidimeter. Did you guys talk about that?
No.
Yeah.
That's a great point. I don't have a large cabinet humidor, but a lot of guys like Kevin, big shout out to Kevin if he's still on. He has a big, long steampunk humidor.
Yeah.
You know, and you're going to see if your humidity source is either on the bottom or on the top, you're going to see a variance. And this helps you also to regulate and rotate your cigars in a big humidor, you know.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm kind of using mine right now for something else. I have a New Air 150 count or 200 count New Air humidor that's not very old. I think I've had it about 3 years now, and it has worked great up until about 4 or 5 months ago. 4 or 5 months ago, my humidity started dropping, and at first I just thought, okay, we're getting into some warmer weather. We had kind of a pretty mild winter and stuff. You know, this is normal. It usually does. I keep my humidors down in my basement. My basement is pretty stable. It only varies within about 10 degrees throughout the year. But this humidor just keeps dropping, and I can't figure out why. I've got tons of humidity. I've got bovedas in there. I've got all kinds of stuff in there. I'm taking up almost more room with humidity than I am cigars.
Wow.
And I can't get it to go above like 57%. And So I've been using the meter to try and check. Okay, how are my cigars adjusting to this, and what's happening with my cigars and stuff. So those things happen. I know that I've talked to people before that have their humidor. They've got like a small wooden humidor or something, and they've got it near an exterior wall. And in the summer, that wall gets hot and starts heating up the humidor. In the wintertime, it gets cold and starts dropping the temperature. And then, of course, you start fluctuating your humidity. And if you don't pay attention to this stuff, like you said, you might grab a cigar and all of a sudden it's flaking on you. The wrapper's cracking and everything because it's too dry or whatever,
Well, I can honestly say, Vic, I probably smoke 500 or 600 cigars a year. And in that, over the last 35 years before I had this meter, I would say maybe 5% of them probably had issues with burns or flavors being muted. Since I've been using this, and this is the God's honest truth, I rarely do I find anything that I have an issue with now, except, it doesn't fix if it's a bad roll. You get a clump in there, you get a bad leaf or a stem. The meter doesn't fix that, you can't. But as far as humidification goes, I can guarantee you I haven't smoked a cigar that has been poorly humidified. In fact, I always thought, okay, if it's 70, it's great. One of the things that we learned in testing with this meter is that a cigar, as you smoke it, builds moisture. Now, you're in Arizona. I mean, you ever notice why right behind the ember it gets all spongy?
Yeah, actually I have.
Do you have a theory? Do you have a theory behind that?
Well, okay, so for me, that typically only happens for me as during monsoon season when I start to get a little more humid and stuff. I have a hard time smoking cigars as well, especially if it's raining outside or something. But like in the summer or something, generally no, I don't notice that.
Well, are you smoking one right now? So right now, is it a little soft behind the ember?
It is.
Yeah. So and and it's not monsoon season. So what happens is?
Oh, weird. I can actually feel the point where it gets hard again.
Yeah. Right. So what happens is the moisture changes state as you're smoking a cigar, and it's not because of the ambient humidity. Like you're in Arizona, so you think you're sucking in 10% humidity, and then you're sucking it past a heat source on top of that, which dries it out even more. The heat that you're pulling through is what causes the moisture to come out, almost like when you're cooking meats. How you see the water bubble out of the meat, when you're cooking.
It starts steaming essentially.
Exactly, you're essentially creating steam. So because of that, and that happens with every cigar you'll ever smoke, as long as there's humidity in it or moisture, it'll always go through that phenomenon. So because of that, knowing that now, I don't light up cigars at 70 or 68. I only light up cigars that are usually between 62 to 66 on the foot, knowing that I'm just playing the game where if I light it a little lower, it's going to start building as it goes. So instead of starting at 70 and wind up at 90, I'll start it at 62, just so the fillet of the cigar tastes that much better to me, So that
totally makes sense.
That's one thing that I've personally learned that I never expected to see. And like I said, if you poked through that cigar, like in that soft spot, not that you want to make a flute right now, you'll see the moisture ramp up. You'll see it ramp up, And that's one of the things that's kind of taught me, like, if I pull one out that's 68 on the foot, I'm like, I'm going to leave it sit out for a couple hours before I light it up, And that's just me, though, personally. So,
I want to say good evening to my good friend Lee Mack, who's in the house, and he says he loves his humidimeter.
Hey, Lee Mack, thank you.
He's good people, man. We got a lot of good people in the chat tonight.
Yeah, I know. It's a great community. Great community. What other hard-hitting questions do you have? Come on, bring them, Vic.
Okay, so here's Janice mentioned a little while ago that she likes Lanceros, and she has a problem poking holes. I mean, you're kind of stuck with a true Lancero. probably isn't really going to work, but 40 on up, it should work fine. But what
I don't know.
what do you guys comments on trying to test smaller ring gauge cigars?
Well, I own a lot of Lanceros because I like Lanceros, and mine are usually 38. You know, that's the gauge that I have. And I don't really have a problem testing Lanceros, but you can't do it through cellophane, and you got to be very, very careful. And if it feels a little bit on the dry side, I wouldn't attempt it. But what you can do is to squeeze the Lancero foot so it becomes oval shaped, right?
A little bit flat, okay.
And then you can actually poke it through the widest part of the oval. That's how I do it too, you know, without destroying the foot, you know. So
yeah, that totally makes sense.
Tight on Lanceros, you got to be kind of careful when you do it. But you know, I haven't broken a wrapper yet, so. But I imagine if it's dry enough and you poke it through and you're not careful, it might break the wrapper. Yes.
I've broken a couple wrappers on cigars that. Sometimes I try not to do this too often, but sometimes if I, in the middle of the day, I want to have a cigar and I'm working, I'll grab a cigar, set it out, thinking, okay, I'm going to head out to the barn a little bit, and I get on conference calls, whatever stuff happens, and it ends up sitting there for 4, 5, 6 hours.
The wrapper dries up right away. I mean, another thing that I've noticed, and you can check the wrapper too. What I do is I usually take the probes, because I mean, I see a lot of these Facebook posts where people break wrappers. Well, the cigar wrapper is like thinner than paper, right? So if it's in a humidor, what I do is I usually lay the tips of the cigar, of the actual probes, and I push them into the wrapper a little bit without poking through. You can actually check the wrapper. And you'll see, especially you, Vic, you're in Arizona. As soon as that cigar is in a room for like a few minutes, you'll see the readings just drop. So that wrapper, and to think about it, when the filler and binder fill up with juice and moisture, that's happening as you smoke it. And what happens to the wrapper? It dries up because there's wind coming in the room, or it just naturally dries out.
Yep.
So the combination of the wet, damp filler and the dry wrapper, boom, you get explosions, you know. So one of the things I do in the wintertime here, because it's very dry, is I'll actually moisten up the wrapper a little bit before I smoke it, just to give it a little bit more extra juice. It'll eventually dry off and burn, but it just gives me a shot of not breaking the wrapper, because the wrapper is just going to acclimate to whatever room you're in right away, you know.
Yeah. So let's get the others talking here. How's business going? How have things been going for CigarMedics?
Well, I can let Tommy and Johnny, but we're going crazy. We can't keep them in stock right now. We're actually very low on inventory, and we're selling a crap load of these things internationally. I mean, we even have people in other countries. I mean, there's been 2 videos in the last week or 2 of people in French. Yes, CigarMedics. We're selling almost every country imaginable. It's nutty, and we don't need. I mean, it's got to be because of social media. But,
yeah.
And you know, ironically, we sent some back to Hong Kong to a company that actually operates out of Hong Kong. You know, so
wow.
Yeah, we can just send him 400 units because he's a major distributor there. So.
One issue we've been having, though, is due to COVID, it's really hard for us to get these individual sales at a reasonable price mailed to them in a timely manner. So we have our Etsy page that does international shipping. And as we go week by week, people send me Instagram messages saying, hey, do you ship here, or do you ship to Portugal, or do you ship to Spain? And we have to go and contact the post office and see, is it still suspended? Have they opened up to this country? So that doesn't make sense. Little by little, yeah, thanks, Tom. Little by little, we've been expanding based on what the Postal Service has been letting us do. So
the restrictions are starting to lighten up bit by bit, but there's still parts of the world we can't send them to. So we hope.
You mean so far as like whether it's considered a necessity or not, or what's the what's the policy of the post
Well,
office?
as you
has
know,
with-
you can't ship cigars. We can't ship cigars, right?
right.
The problem is we have cigar in our name, so automatically it gets flagged by the U.S. Postal Service and Customs because we have the name cigar in our name. So we have to tell them that they're not cigars, they're meters, they're measuring tools, So that's one of the big things that we run into is that because we have the cigar in our name, we're hamstrung a little bit on trying to ship these across in other countries. So, but there are other countries that prohibit, entirely anything like this. So there are countries that don't accept packages at all. But we have shipped them through the Middle East, Australia, Dubai,
Europe,
almost every
Europe.
country in Europe at this point. Not so many in South America for some reason, but Russia, and you name it, we've shipped these things everywhere. So
Holy cow, that's awesome! I remember getting the smoke chest. The first country I got the smoke chest into outside the U.S. was Australia, and the guy posted on social media, and I didn't fulfill the orders. My wife did, and this guy from Australia posts, and now I've got several of them in Europe. I think I've got 5 or 6 in Australia or something. But that feeling of getting your
it's
product,
cool. Yeah,
it's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you're not advertising out there, but people are seeing it. It's just so neat, So
We've gotten some reviews in different languages, and we had to try to translate, so that was pretty entertaining.
So a couple things real quick. So one of the questions Tony Costa had was, is it possible to make the probes adjustable? And I actually know of a way that you could do that, but I think it would be cost prohibitive. But have you guys looked into that at all? Trying to make them adjustable a little bit?
adjustable, I mean, on the spacing or the length?
Yeah, maybe so you can squeeze them in a little bit or something.
The problem with squeezing them in, you're going to alter the readings a little bit because there's a distance calculation on those probes too.
Right.
So you have to be aware of that. You can't just.
Yeah, it's gonna
they're
flow.
hard. They're very hard, and if you try to do that, you might break them. So.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to just stick it in a vise and give it a little squeeze or something.
No, I get it. I mean, for the Lanceros, if there's enough demand, Vic, we might actually come up with a Lancero attachment. It might just be some piece you put on there. It might, cost $5 or $10.
Oh, there you go. That's even a better idea.
Yeah, I've actually experimented with that already. So, that's something we're playing with too, because there's enough people that smoke Lanceros, including myself. But, again, if you got a 32 or 34 ring, it's tight. 30.
Yeah.
Kevin's asking something.
Yeah. He's saying his shipping label. So what I was going to actually bring this up. What if you guys had something on your shipping label or your tape that you seal the box with or something that's stated not cigars, but a tool or something like that?
Yeah, we started doing that, and on some of our invoices we'll put like CigarMedics instead of CigarMedics.
Right.
There you go.
Just to avoid the headache of like custom seeing CigarMedics on it and then opening up and
pilfering the package.
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
I've had that happen at freaking TSA before, man.
I bet. Yeah. What else you got, Vic?
I was hoping that Robin. I know Robin Caesar had some comments tonight. I was hoping they'd be on it. They just canceled just before the show.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what is their take on it? I mean, obviously they know about it.
Yeah. So I haven't talked to Rob too much. Rob thought it was totally cool that we were having you guys on the show, but. Caesar just needs to use it more. So Caesar's kind of in that place right now. I think he's only used it once or twice, and the fact that it kept dropping, bothered him. And when I talked to him the other day, I said, "Dude, your humidor's in trouble, man." I said, if it's dropping like that, and like not stopping or whatever, then
Right.
it's, you've got an issue with your humidor.
Well, remember too that if it drops, it's a lot of times it's because the cigar is a tad drier. And remember, we're just putting two metal probes between a bunched up tobacco leaves, right? So there's a lot of airspace in there. It's not like one solid mass. So obviously, it's not when you're poking wood. Wood is usually a full slab, right? You're checking the conductivity, and it's just full. With cigars, it's half of it's air. So when you're poking the probes through there, you're just checking the conductivity from one leaf touching the other, touching the other, touching the other. So, that's why we tell people don't leave it for more than 5-10 seconds. Between 5 and 10 seconds is a perfect time, And usually when I stop it is when you'll see it, you'll poke it at 72, then it'll go to 67, and then it'll go 66. When it drops that single digit, I usually stop it there. That's where I stop it. Because otherwise, if you leave it in a drier cigar, it might just keep going. It'll keep dropping slowly, So
Yeah, we actually have kind of a similar phenomena in the wireless industry where people look at their signal and stuff, and they're like, well, it says it's really good, or it's poor signal, or whatever. And there's so much stuff that goes into that, that Windows and Mac and all that. They try to make it easy for the user, right? They just show you a bunch of bars. What's going on behind those bars is insanity.
I bet, yeah.
And a couple little configurations that have nothing to do with power. I don't have to touch the power, and I can totally change what that reading is.
Right. Actually, one thing of note, Charlie Minato just did a review on us a few weeks ago. I don't know if you saw it or not.
I saw that it came out. I haven't actually read through it yet or seen the video because I just haven't had time. But it's in my watch list.
Yeah, he's a very smart guy. He knows a lot about it. So when I knew that he was doing a review on there, I'm like, I saw his name come through when he ordered one. I'm like, oh, Charlie's doing one now. So, but it was all good, So
that's a good segue into my next question, which is, how has the industry been responding to this?
Well, along with the hoax, or it's a gimmick, or a gadget, I'm not too bothered with people call it a gadget, but other than that, I can't tell you how many people have reached out to us in just the comments. This is a game changer for me. Game changer. This changes everything for me. And we've received so many positive comments. Tommy and Johnny can tell you alone, that this, is. But we want to tell people, listen, it's going to help you from not smoking a dry or humid cigar, but a plugged cigar is a plugged cigar. So, I mean, if you smoke one that's a little bit too humid, the chances are it being plugged because the leaves getting gorged, is high. But if it's a bad roll, the CigarMedics isn't going to fix a bad roll. You got a knot in there, it's not going to fix a knot,
Right.
So it's going to fix everything. But we've gotten really, really great reviews. A couple of guys on YouTube, or actually one to be specific, long time ago, we showed it to, and he said, "Oh, this is not necessary." He didn't really knock the meter. He just said it's not really. What did he call it? He says it's
Would the initials of his show be CO?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
But
I'm guessing so, based on your response.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Guys think it's unnecessary, but every once in a while, when he smokes a bad plug cigar on there, I want to ask him, Brian, you know what? I just said his name, I guess. Check that cigar. You could have checked that cigar and known before you go knocking the company that gave it to you. Now, he always prefaces by saying, listen, I just got a bad roll. It could be a bad cigar. But when he makes a review and it's a plug cigar and he's poking it and trying to get it to smoke and he gets, it could just be it could be badly humidified, Now, I'm pretty sure he keeps this in his cabinets for months before he smokes them. But sometimes he does smoke them when he gets them. And he said, I just got this right out of the box, so I'm going to try it, And
okay. That
right?
that is good for my next question. What, and everyone in the comments as well. I'd like to hear your comment on this. But what is your? Let's see. How do I phrase this? What is your
Nice tiki torches.
general impression of acclimating the cigars? In other words, does every pack, if you mail order, is it necessary for every package to go into the humidor for a month or 2 months before you smoke it?
No, because think about it. I mean, Nicaraguan cigars have been aged for 5 years, and
Oh my god, that
oftentimes-
raccoon scared the shit out of me.
Hey, Vic, I live out in the woods, so there's a lot of critters roaming around out here.
Hey, I hear you, man. I'm right there with you.
So that's a great question. So, like I said, cigars have been aged. They should be ready to smoke when you get them, right? But sometimes, if they're neglected, or if they're sitting in a warehouse for a long time, and we've seen a lot of retailers reach out to us. Now, at first, like, okay, now these guys, here they are, we're poking our cigar. I mean, we've actually helped to raise the level of the retailers and the wholesalers, so that when they sell cigars to brick and mortars, everybody has to watch what they're putting on the shelf for their customers now, right? So, so is it necessary to check when you acclimate? So let's say, what I just posted on Facebook. I ordered some cigars from a reputable retailer. I'm not going to mention names. Just a couple weeks ago. Three different cigars, 3 5-packs. One of them came in at 72. One was at 65. Another one was at 50, 54, 57. I can't remember. Now, those came from a guy who was supposedly storing his cigars. The 64 one, I could smoke it right then and there. And I know I can because I had the meter to check it. The 72 one, I'm going to dry box that little bit, right? And the 57, I'm going to have to put that in storage. I mean, that's what's great about this little tool is that, if, like, again, I'll say if you're going to store your cigars for 3 months, regardless, but let's say you want to buy a hot cigar, like Steve Saka comes up with a Moisture de Saka, and you want to smoke it. You don't want to wait 3 months. When you get it in, you're going to be tempted. You're going to look at that thing and go, I really want to do this tonight.
Very few people are waiting. They're
I
like,
get it.
I'm
Right.
waiting this
That's
thing.
what I'm saying. So why not use it to help you determine if you want to smoke it and how long to store it for, And
Right.
length of time is another thing that shocked me personally. I talked about this on Kevin's show or something. I mean, when you put a can of beer in a refrigerator, right? The next day it's going to be cold. It's going to be acclimated, correct? If you have a cigar that comes in at 47 and it's in cellophane and it's a 60 ring cigar, you know how long that's going to take to come back in a humidor?
Oh,
A couple of months at least.
based on my experience with the Navy SEAL cigars,
Yeah.
it can take many months.
Well, those were completely dried out, though. I mean, those were.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
But I mean, that's my point is you get something and they looked really good and you think, okay, obviously they're dry, they've been in a garage and stuff, but you
Right.
a lot of people might just throw them in the humidor for a couple months and say, okay, they should be good to go. And after 4 months, I was only in the mid 50s on those cigars, which really surprised me because I've done quite a number of videos on the fact that tobacco wood. There's something called hydroscopic.
Right.
Tobacco is hydroscopic, which means
Right.
it reacts to the air, and it will.
Right.
If it's in a real humid environment, it will suck up moisture quicker than it will in a dry environment. Whatever, but the way I had those, well, actually, now that I think of it, I think I had 3 large 69% Boveda packs in there, and a Boveda pack is only going to release the humidity so fast,
Right.
and the environment that the cigar is in, not the cigar itself, but the environment, is going to get to that area quicker than the cigars themselves are.
Right. Yeah, you're right. So, and that's another thing, like I said, that we've learned, and people ask us about, and I see these questions always about cellophane, no cellophane. I keep cellophane on because a lot of times in my box humor, I'll be rifling through them looking for a smoke, and they get damaged after a while, and it just so I keep it on. And ironically, cellophane is a double-edged sword as far as when it comes to humidity. If you have a properly humidified cigar and it's in cellophane, even if you neglect that cigar or it's improperly stored, it'll maintain longer, correct? Consequently, if you have a cigar that's 47%, let's say, in cellophane, it'll take that much longer to come back than a cigar that's not. So it's a double-edged sword with the cellophane,
Right. I don't want to forget Tony's question. Tony had asked a little while ago about the possibility of including a temperature reading or on this thing, which
Tony Costa, is that Tony Costa?
yeah, it was Tony Costa.
Yeah, actually, that is in the works. We're actually going to at some point introduce a third probe that'll actually factor in the temperature, so that when it'll check the temperature of the cigar and automatically change the calibration higher or lower for the humidity factor, right? So because humidity changes at different temperatures.
Okay, wait a minute. Now my brain is going.
Sorry, we're geeking out a little too much here.
Right now, it's just based at 70.
Yeah. But okay, so I was, based on your explanation, so I was thinking you would electronically isolate it from the probes doing the humidity reading.
It is, but it has to be factored in. So what happens is the third probe actually checks the temperature, and according to the temperature of the cigar, it'll actually vary the humidity reading slightly higher or lower based on the temperature of the cigar. Only at the time you check it. So
okay, so if I understand this correctly, circuit-wise, it's going to be isolated. You'll get temperature, you'll get humidity, but then in the math, in the programming in the background, it's going to do the calculation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that totally makes sense.
And that meter will be a lot more money, obviously, So, and like I said, I did all this testing in advance thinking that I would like to introduce that, but then that's geeking out a little bit too much. I mean, for $30, I mean, already we get, you guys are getting too hot and heavy into this. I mean, most often people smoke cigars at around 70 degrees, plus or minus 10 degrees. So at that temperature, the humidity is usually pretty dead on within a couple of points, so.
At least
That's cool.
I think the biggest compliment we get, but this is my personal opinion, Johnny may have a different opinion, Louis may have a different opinion, is when I see the emails or I talk to the customers and they tell me that the heater paid for itself, saving them from smoking a few bad cigars. And you really can't get a bigger compliment than that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, shoot, for $30, I mean, people out there. Listen. The bane of my cigar career is $100 lighters that work for about 6 months, and then you start having all kinds of issues with them. But then I can pick up a $1.25 lighter that I get from Crowned Heads. It's all plastic and stuff. And it lights every single time, and it's always the same flame, and everything's the same stuff.
Yeah.
So there's better places to spend your money.
Well, Vic, the thing with this meter, think about it. Nothing ever like it existed before this came along. So obviously, people have been smoking cigars for hundreds of years, right?
Right.
And they did before this meter came along, and they'll continue to smoke cigars. So is it necessary? People still smoke cigars regardless of the meter, but it's just to give people or cigar smokers another tool to help them just smoke a cigar in the range where they want it or where they think it's got to be. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's all. I mean, we're not trying to oversell it. I mean, it's a meter that never existed before. It's not like we improved something that was. But moisture meters have been used in the trades for years, for decades.
Yeah.
Woodworkers use them. Guys that put wood floors use them, because they have to make sure the wood acclimates, And then, then we get guys that are like, well, why do I need this when my humidor is good? Well, I tell them, well, when you have a tire that's a little low on air, don't you check it with the tire pressure gauge? Or do you trust the little meter that's inside your car? I always check with a gauge, right? I don't just push on the sidewall to see how pliable it is. I check it with a gauge. Guys smoke meats, right? If you're really good, you don't need a meat thermometer. But guess what? Somebody invented a meat thermometer to make sure that they cook it at the right, you know what I'm saying? So that's
very good points. Very good points. So Shane's asking why you guys aren't on Amazon. You guys aren't on Amazon?
We are actually we are on Amazon, but it's linked through our website. So
okay.
Amazon made it very difficult to find.
Yeah, we didn't realize how difficult it is. I mean, you type in humidimeter, spot on the word, our meter doesn't come up. Amazon tries to structure it so that you're stocking them with meters, so that they get all the cost, the logistics, they handle the inventory, they handle the shipping. Well, we don't have enough money in there for them to do that, so we decided we wanted to ship it. We just wanted to put it on Amazon, and obviously they get their cut. But when you get a listing, it's all done in the algorithms, they call it, So, yeah, you can type in a humidimeter right in Amazon, and you'll never see a humidimeter listing, which is crazy, So,
treasure hunting thieves. They've got to figure out how to get their grubbies on.
If you would prefer to purchase it on Amazon, though, on our website on the top right, there's little thumbnails that has eBay, Amazon. So,
right,
because a lot of people already have an account set up. Instead of putting all their information on the website, it's easier. You just click on the Amazon thumbnail. It'll bring you right to the page, and you'll be able to purchase it.
So, I imagine just adapting, and you guys have been around for a little while now. You're learning things. We've already talked about some changes you guys want to make and stuff. But what else about CigarMedics? So what else is cooking?
Well, we're actually going to be introducing a brand new cigar cutter. I don't know if I'm going to make it out before Christmas, but it's
Pretty close.
We'll see.
Really?
I don't like to launch anything until it's perfected. I don't want to put any substandard products on the market. It's got to be flawless, otherwise I'm not going to put it out.
Yeah,
I pushing me here, but
I don't want you guys to reveal too much because it's in the works. But is it? I mean, it's got to be different if you're coming out with another cutter.
I don't know how much we can reveal.
He's looking at. You better not say anything.
I'll tell you what it does, Vic. Should we tell him? Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. It's like a melon baller, right? You know how you get a little scoop cut? Well, it's a combination. It's a hybrid of a V cut, which cuts into the cigar,
right?
A guillotine cut, which makes a perfectly round hole. But sometimes I don't like a guillotine because you overcut it. And a combination of a punch, So this cutter actually takes out a perfectly regulated circle, and it scoops out little of the cigar. So actually, the draw on it's a little. You don't get that. It just it brings out. I don't know. I have made a few prototypes and given some cigars to friends, and they think it tastes differently. I don't see the difference. But
Kevin says the new cutter is cutting edge.
Yeah, he knows about it too, but we didn't show it to him either. So
yeah, I'm sure Kevin has already done this. My brain is. I'm thinking, okay, mechanically, I think I can envision how this might work.
Right.
That sounds very
damage
cool.
done to the cap.
Right.
A lot of times when you're smoking a cigar, the cap falls apart. So we took that into mind. Well, Louis did at least. I just gave the comments. So. It's definitely a little bit different.
It's cutting edge, no pun intended.
I'm watching the comments going through here.
Yeah.
Darth Wolf, okay, take my money, love it already.
Yeah.
Thanks.
We're not going to put it on the market until I'm happy with it. So I know people are antsy, whatever, but it's not going to be on the market. It'll be affordable because that's what I'm about. That's what we're about. We don't want to put something out there that's $150 or It's got to be affordable, you know, and it's got to work, you know. So
Yeah, I need your cutter. I'm having a problem right now with. Hold on a sec.
Did you use it tonight?
I'll tell you. I've got a number of cutters. I've got some really nice cutters, and lately all I've been using is my knife. I've been using my knife for a few weeks now. It's always on my side, and I just grab it and go. And
why not?
But
actually, one of the products we do have brand new. Johnny can show it to you. I actually have one with the name on it. Is that the one?
Yeah, it's got a name on it. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it with the dark. Let's
see here.
Back off a little, Tom. What did?
Is that a?
It's a triple flame. It's a 3-in-1 lighter. It's actually got a cigar rest on top. See that?
Okay.
It's got CigarMedics name. It's a triple flame torch, and it actually has a built-in punch in the bottom of it. See that?
Nice. Nice. What now?
Well,
Okay. What size is the punch? What is it?
I believe it's 10 millimeters.
Okay.
It's about 3/8 of an inch.
I've got one that was. I don't even know if the company's around anymore. They were from Germany, and they made one that was about. Gosh, I don't remember what the millimeter reading was, but I mean it was the biggest punch I've ever seen, and I mean you couldn't do a Lancero with it because Lancero would fit inside of it.
No, this one will cut a Lancero nicely, actually. So.
But it was an awesome punch. I have it in my other smoke chest over here, and it's the big problem with that one though was they did not have a good way to protect the blade. It was just open, and
this one's got an actual nice action. It's got a spring-loaded detent on it. See, there's a handle, so it goes down flush. It's got this little lever. It's like it was a little catch. So you flip it, catches.
The other way, Lou. The other way.
Oh, nice.
Catch it, and then it actually, when you trip the lever, it goes down, and the slug actually drops right out. So.
Okay, give it a. Does that have fuel in it? Give it a light. Let's see.
Well, that one doesn't. I don't think.
No, it does.
That one does. Okay.
Cool.
There we go. Nice. Don't burn your camera. Nice.
So we just posted that on our website, and
got these nice ashtrays.
yeah, the Tommy just dirtied up my brand new machined ashtray that we're making too. So we CNC machined some ashtrays.
Oh, really?
I knew it.
Okay. What? Oh, nice.
Yeah. Forgive
Oh,
the
the color.
ash marks.
Color is fantastic too.
Yeah, that's what do they call? We call that red.
Oh,
Come on, here,
Let's just say red.
crimson red.
oh yeah, yeah.
We have an electric blue, a red, and a black.
Crimson red.
Yeah.
From Bob Ross.
It's all machined
it.
out. The 4-station ashtray, you know,
I like it.
made in America. This one doesn't have the logo, does it?
No, you must not have gotten.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it does.
We need to make some inserts for the smoke chest so that the smoke chest actually has aluminum inserts. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. I got to get one of those smoke chests from you. So.
That's nice, guys. That's really nice.
It's got some weight to it.
Yeah. Well, you guys have a machine shop, don't you?
Yeah, actually, I own a machine. I actually own a tool and die company that I've had for 36 years now, pretty close to it. So.
I was going to say because I know Kevin made a really beautiful ashtray. I don't know how well it has sold, but I haven't seen him push it much. What I'm getting at is you guys can probably do it with a better margin because you have the shop.
Right. It still costs a lot of money. I mean, you know, when you buy a billet of aluminum like
It's
this,
a big hunk of aluminum. Yeah.
it's $15 just for the piece of aluminum before I even touch it. You know. So,
Yeah.
You know. So I mean, that's another product we have, but just another product that we sell. You know, but as far as like, I mean, even the lighter. This is another thing I think
Vic has one.
I sent you one, Vic, with your logo
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. It travels with me whenever I go on trips,
I'm glad it doesn't come apart.
and it folds super slim. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
It's actually hingeless. So there are ones on the market, but they actually have a little tiny hinge built into them. It's
Right.
just welded in. This is actually hingeless. So it's almost like two parts put into each other, but there's a lock in at the end so that when it
Right.
snaps in, it stays, you know.
So is it just kind of pressure fitted together? You just kind of snap it together and then it can't come apart?
Right. Exactly. Well, I mean, if you really want to bend it and try to get it apart, you can.
That'd be pretty tough, I think.
It's pretty tough, yeah.
Well, I know it's what I use. I carry that, and I carry one of Kevin's plastic little hit. Well, his is hingeless as well, but it's just two pieces that fit together.
Yeah. Right.
But
Same one, right?
Yeah. Well, Kevin has Kevin. He's our lone retailer selling this also, so he sells it as well. And you know, Kevin is just such a good guy, and you know, we owe him so much. You know, he's been our biggest ambassador for this thing. You know, so
yeah,
yeah.
Kevin's a good guy, and boy, his the way he's been growing and
yeah,
he's found his lane. He likes to talk about he goes all over. He swerves in everyone's lane, but he's really found his lane and doing his thing really good.
He's just chiming in now. Yeah, he's still on.
He said he did one run of those ashtrays, and he was saying that the that foldable cigar prop sells itself. He says.
Yeah, we don't really promote it that much. We sell them on our website. They're available if people want to buy them for promotional items. We can actually put a custom stamp on there for people if they'd like for golf outings or for. But the problem is nobody's getting together anymore right now with all this COVID. You know, so. Occasions where people would give them out are very few and far between right now. So
yeah, my wife and I were talking today. I before this whole COVID thing happened, I hit every year I go through. I travel about 50-60% of the time, but it comes in spurts, and then I'm home for a while and whatever. And I had hit my slow spell. And was home at the end of the year, and then the whole COVID thing happened. I did a trip up to Idaho in February, but aside from that trip, I almost haven't traveled in a year, which is absolutely insane for me because I travel all the time, and it's been really nice, but it's just been weird, man. The way everything has been affected by this.
Yeah. My daughter just went back to school after being off for 6 months, and she hates school. I could say that because she's not around, unless she hears me right now. She could not wait to go back to school. She was just so happy to go back to school. You know, even though
she's a little bit of cabin fever and stuff.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's been tough on everybody. Everybody's had to suffer through this. You know. I mean,
so how have you guys been doing with getting into the shops and stuff, like getting into brick and mortars and all that?
That's a tough sell. That's what our original game plan was, and Tommy could fill you in on that.
When we first started, we thought it would be, just to be blunt, we thought it would be pretty simple, but it was just the opposite. At first, the reaction would be, yes, I want it, but it wasn't like that at first. So we got turned away a lot because they didn't want to lose cigar sales over the meter. But we have a few brick and mortars that are taking full advantage of it and increasing sales because of the meter. You know, so
so they're thinking that people will grab the meter and go into the humidor and start sticking cigars.
Because they can tout it that, hey, we keep our cigars, we don't put them on the shelf until they're right where you want to smoke them. See, so
yeah, an easy fix to that, or it seems to me it would be easy, is I know you guys have the sort of user-friendly packaging, but if you change the bubble packaging and made it more sealed, then they'd have to buy the cigars, they'd have to buy the meter, and and they wouldn't be able to pull it out right there in the shop too easily, anyways.
Yeah, actually, you know what? That was one of the considerations before we launched this thing, because you know we wanted to put in either like a nice box, you know, with a plastic front on there, you know, like they sell lighters. But the problem is with that is that you can't see the meter, and we didn't want to charge more money because of the box. We wanted to put in a blister pack, which, you know, I'm sure, I don't remember if you noticed it, but even the blister pack I had put a lot of thought into. It's one of those blister packs that just peels away.
Right.
You know, you ever buy things at the store where you got to cut it with a razor blade or with a knife? This one you don't have to, you know. And the problem with the blister pack, it gives the appearance that it's a cheap gadget. You know what I mean? Because usually in blister packs you get cheap gadgets, you know, like rolls, you know, things like that. So we knew that going in, that we would get knocked because we put it in a blister pack. But the nice thing about that is guys can hang them on a pegboard. It's not taking up surface space. And right on the blister, it shows you what it is. And in the back, it shows you the instructions. It's just very simple, you know. So
Right. Hey, Latanya, how you doing? Thank you for jumping in here tonight.
She loves her humidimeter.
thank you, Latanya.
Nice. Yeah, I mean,
I think you could attest to this, Vic. Honestly, in the beginning, we've been out for a solid year now, and you could definitely relate to what I'm about to say. In the beginning, because it was brand new, and Lou alluded to this earlier, it was new gadget, new product, and people kind of smirked at it. In the, you know, for the most part, let me backtrack a little bit. For the most part, in the beginning, it was all positive, few naysayers, but now I'm seeing, and this is the part I'm telling you, you could attest to, that some of those naysayers are commenting that they had the completely wrong impression on it now that they used it, tried it, saved them some money, tested the cigars, and they're elevating their cigar experience because of it. And it only makes us more and more happy that we hear it, because now that it's been on the market for a good solid year, people are starting to realize that it's a needed product.
yeah, absolutely. And the fact that you guys are first is just awesome. What about shows? I know we've kind of been hampered with the shows and stuff, but events and conventions and stuff, you guys.
It just stopped pretty much.
We were at the Great Smoke in February, but that's it. That was right before the pandemic started, and that, you know, so any of the cigar festivals, shows, obviously, as you know, it all been canceled. You know, everything.
Is that something you guys are planning on doing though? Once they pick back up?
Yeah, we were actually thinking seriously about doing TPE this year, you know, because we heard it was fairly affordable to go there.
Okay.
Obviously, that got canned too, you know. So we're doing everything online, internet, social media right now, and like I said, right now we're at a point where we can't keep them in stock. The blessing, you know. So just the word's getting out, I guess, right now. You know, this international thing is just really perplexing. All the countries that we've sold these to, it's just maddening, you know. So,
In a good way.
Yeah, I mean, so what's it been like trying to keep up with it? I mean, you said right now that you're kind of low on stock and everything.
Well, we're trying to manage inventory because, you know, inventory costs money, you know. So,
yeah,
you know, it's not making millions of dollars selling meters here, but we have to manage it. And when we get hit with a 400-piece order from a guy in China, or a 150-piece order from a guy in Pakistan, or a 100-piece order from a local retailer, that all of a sudden depletes your inventory completely, you know. We have some right now, but we're slowly building back up. So we're not out completely, but, you know.
Well, we're good.
Yeah, we're good. You know.
Yeah, I think Janice is. I was going to bring this up myself. So I've been seeing a number. In fact, Kevin's promoting right now something that Smoke In is getting ready to do. These virtual events. Have you guys looked into participating in some of those? Or
I'll let my marketing guys. I'm going to head out for a second. I'll let them answer that for me.
All righty.
We've been, yes, definitely, for sure. And I think you were definitely during a few months back during the peak of the COVID. We did a lot of these videos,
Zoom calls.
Zoom calls and stuff.
Zoom calls.
There were the
here
Zoom
and there.
calls. You did one with us that received a bunch of views, and we were just trying to adapt with the times. But definitely, we're open to doing whatever we need to do to get the word out and answer the questions and talk to the people who have questions about it. But honestly, we're so new in the industry that people still haven't heard about us. Social media, everything that we're doing, people still haven't heard about us. And then, we see emails all the time complimenting the product. I wish I had this sooner, and so we're little by little we're growing, and part of the growing pains, like Louis was talking about, was just keeping the inventory in line. But it's all been
pretty positive.
It's been a great experience, especially
That's awesome.
with supporters like you and Kevin and everybody else who supported us. I even mentioned we have people that we don't even know in different languages doing videos on the meter.
Oh, cool.
And
Yeah, I think we had a couple of video reviews or product reviews in France by 2 or 3 different people. And lucky for us, we have a cousin that lives in Belgium who was able to translate most of it for us, but it was kind of tricky.
Nice.
Yeah, internationally, the only thing is I get a lot of questions on Instagram. Can you sell here? Can you sell here? And the only thing I could say is have patience. Eventually, we'll be able to get them to all the countries. Where as I get inquiries, I check with the post office and see. Sometimes it's suspended due to lack of transportation or what have you. But we've been able to open up more and more countries on a weekly basis. Feel free to message me on Instagram at CigarMedics. I try to get back to everybody in a timely manner, sometimes a day or two. And if for some reason the post office lets us know that it's still, there's no guarantee, then we don't want to send the product that's going to take 4 months to get there, because it just doesn't make sense.
What did Latanya say? If you don't have the humidimeter, I suggest you get it. Yes, absolutely.
Perfect.
I was going to say the postal service has been there. If you want to ship priority, they're still taking your money. They're still saying, "Hey, we'll ship priority," but packages are not always making it on priority. I sent a couple packages a couple weeks ago. One guy got his in like 2 or 3 days. The other guy, it took like a week and a half for him to get his, and I sent them both priority. And I'm like, all right, if you're gonna sell it, then you have to follow through on it, man.
Have you had any packages that say they were delivered, but your customer say they've never received it?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
we get that too. That's a difficult one to deal with, because
and I've also I had a package that came to me. This was about 2 months ago. That said it was delivered, but it wasn't showing up in my box, and it was actually in the next town over, still sitting in the post office there.
There's still some packages we're still trying to figure out where they're at. They're in mail space, I guess.
Yeah.
Mail cloud.
Yeah.
Mail cloud.
Yeah, we had a package that we delivered in April, or we sent in April, and the post office just tells us they don't know where it's at.
Yeah,
that's their response.
Oh my gosh.
We don't know where it's at, so we had to
resend
it, try to file a claim, still waiting for that to come through. It sometimes
it came in. The claim came in. There you go.
I know.
Claim.
We'll get through this eventually. On the other side of it, I've got a customer right now. This is my regular day job, that everything they want done, I can do remotely, no problem. And I've got a plan for doing it remotely, but they want me on site, and I'm like, guys, you're wasting your money. If I come on, and they want me on site like 12 or 15 times, all these trips and everything, and everything's just crazy right now. We got to just live through it.
Now, do you know everything about us now, Vic, and the meter and who we are? Or...
Oh yeah. Well, you know, we've talked quite a few times. I've and I'm sure a lot of these people also knew some of the information because they've watched Kevin's show and stuff. But I haven't been able to actually jump onto any of the Zooms you guys have been on because a lot of that stuff takes place during the day when I'm working. So
right.
I haven't been able to get on, but man, this new cutter, it sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, like I said, it's got a couple of bugs I got to get out of it still, but it's coming along. I actually built the first prototype. I actually have it on the table here.
Oh yeah,
I bet you want to see it too, right?
I did.
I mean, the patent attorney says you got to be careful. Don't show it to anybody.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've got a nub tool that I was working with a company on, and got some prototypes done and stuff. And there's most of the nub tools have a couple problems that they all share these same problems, and they're problems that just bug me. So I came up with a solution for it, but I'm stuck. I can't do anything right now because we got to a point where the company I was working with wanted a final prototype done.
Yeah.
And they were like, we don't want to do a prototype. You need to put in like a big order. I'm like, I can't just put in a big order, man. I got to make sure everything's on with this thing and stuff. So
yeah,
it's kind of sitting right now, but it's something that I've had on the back burner for
if there's
many months now.
If there's anything I can help you with, Vic, I'd be more than happy to. I mean, I'll even send a non-disclosure. I mean, I own a machine shop, so I can prototype a lot of this stuff myself. You know, not everything, but I can make most anything. So,
do you have you guys? Well, you have a CNC mill, obviously. You did your ashtrays with that.
Yeah, I do.
Right?
I'm sorry.
You guys have a CNC mill?
Yeah. That's how we make the ashtrays. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I might reach out to you and send you some pictures of what I've been working on.
Yeah, I understand. You know, people don't want to show it, but sometimes you got to hook up with people that can help you out too, and I'd be more than happy to help you out. So.
All right, let's see here. Mike says he won something over a month ago, and he still hasn't received it. That's probably one of the barn smoker packages, or maybe not barn smoker, but it seems like a lot of I've heard a lot of people say that stuff they've won has taken a really long time to get to them.
Yeah, I see him.
What is it? Tony, are you okay? Tony said, or getting thrown in a dumpster. Anyone see the story about the postal worker doing? Tony, is that a reference to the military ballots? We don't have to get into that. I think that's what you're talking about. So, Lou, where you guys at? What I forget what state you're in.
Illinois.
Illinois, and you're in the. Are you out in the sticks a bit?
Well, we're in the far southern suburbs of Chicago, so. I just figured, you know, it's rare that you get a 80-degree day in September, so let's take the show outside tonight. You know, tiki torch, everything back there. So
yeah, Kevin commented on those a little bit ago.
It's
Well-
about 30 miles south of the city.
We copied those from somebody else, just to full disclosure.
Well,
So
we're in the middle of a forest reserve, so we needed them for the mosquitoes. Let's just say that.
You got a mosquito problem, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you guys got scorpion and tarantula problems over there. Man, I saw that picture you posted of that giant spider.
My neighbor was making fun of me for that. So I went over. She's an older lady, and I don't know how she does a lot of the stuff she does, because she can't. I bet she only weighs like 95 pounds. She's super small. She's about, I think she's 71, 72 years old, and she has a horse farm, and she does everything, most everything herself there. But I go over and throw bales of hay. I always replenish her hay for her horses, and she's got a black walnut tree that's growing over a barn, and black walnut trees grow super fast. I just did some work on this tree less than a year ago, cut it all back from the barn, and she said, "Hey, sometime when you have a chance, can you look at that?" And I was like, "Well, I'm here. I'll go up and do it now." And I get up there, and I spot that spider. And at first I thought it was dead because of the way that it was positioned. It just looked really weird.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that picture. Like it looks like it was all contorted, and
Yeah. But I was like, his abdomen looks really plump, man. So I'm not going to mess with him. After a little bit, he moved. When I was pulling branches down, he moved and stuff. And I told her, this guy, he kind of got in a position like he was going to jump. And I was like, if this guy jumps on me, I'm coming right off the barn, man. This guy's got some weight behind him.
I know. I saw.
I still haven't figured out what kind of spider it was.
Yeah, that was weird. It was like a tannish color. I thought,
And it was about the size of a baby tarantula. Baby tarantulas are big spiders.
Yeah.
And it was about that size, just weird. And I've never seen one.
I don't know how you live in Arizona with those Gila monsters and scorpions and
I love it, man. I wouldn't live anywhere else, I don't think. I've been here 30 years now. And
Where do you originate from, Vic?
well, so I moved around a lot as a kid. I had two home bases growing up: Spokane, Washington, and Bozeman, Montana. And I graduated from high school in Bozeman, Montana. Came down to Arizona for like 6 months, and then I went to Hollywood. I lived in Hollywood for a year and went to Musicians Institute out there. I've been a musician all my life, and then I came straight back to Arizona, and then in 2010 I went back up to Washington for a year, and it was the twilight zone. I just after a year I was like, I'm going back to Arizona. This sucks, man.
Yeah. Can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
Do you have a Yellowstone brand on your chest?
No. This is
You know why I asked that, right?
Yellowstone?
Yeah.
That's my old stomping grounds, man.
Well, you've seen the TV.
Yeah, isn't it? It's Kevin Costner in that, isn't it? Or
Yeah. When you said Bozeman, I'm like, oh, I wonder if Vic was on the Yellowstone Ranch for a couple of years.
Yeah. Those are my old stomping grounds. There was a movie that Tom Berenger did called Sniper. The first Sniper was good. All the others sucked. But
How many did they end up with? Like 4?
yeah, too many. They
first
didn't
one
need to
was
go
great.
past the first
Yeah.
one. But in that, he has this little dialogue where he's talking about this little town east of Bozeman, and he was talking about the whole setup, and I was like, oh my gosh, I know exactly where he's talking about. I've been there 100 times, man. But yeah, so I've been in Arizona now for 30 years, and then was mostly in Phoenix. Moved up here. Now I'm in Central Arizona, So I get seasons. I live right up against the Tano National Forest, and
You get snow?
oh yeah, yeah.
Really?
Not last year, but the year before, we got 3 feet of snow in one night.
Jeez.
So
Wow.
when it comes, when it rains, it pours.
Yeah.
I
What
guess.
what elevation are you at over there, Vic?
5,100 feet.
Well, you're a
When
mile.
it
You're a mile up,
snows,
huh? Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're gonna get snow there.
yeah. I mean, it generally it's a lighter snow. I mean, we usually get a few inches, but it doesn't last very long. But boy, that winter was crazy. It was just absurd.
Honestly, the last few winters out here in Chicago have been pretty mild. In our terms, mild.
Okay, so what's that mean? Because I know Chicago can get super cold.
So snow-wise, we really haven't had a lot. I could remember 4 years ago, every other weekend, I would have to snowplow at least a foot of snow. Or snowblow, not snowplow. Snowblow,
Okay.
at least a foot of snow every weekend. And then the last few years, last winter, I used my snowblower once. And for Chicago terms, that's just not a lot.
Not
At all.
normal,
No.
huh?
And you know what? The past few winters have been like that. Which
Kevin's like just shy of a mile. Not being picky though.
I knew Kevin was gonna chime in. Okay, it's 5,280 feet, right, Kevin? If you go on Vic's roof, it's probably 5,280 feet, right?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah,
Kevin doing?
so-
Isn't he supposed to be in Ybor City tonight or something like that? I think he's in Tampa. Up there checking out his buddy out there, BG. So
Yeah, where are you, Kevin? I know that he went to Ybor City a couple weeks ago.
I think he was going up there tonight when I saw his post.
Oh, okay. I'm not on Instagram anymore. I dropped Instagram, so I don't see his videos on there anymore, or anything for that matter.
Yeah, he was one that actually pushed us a lot to get into Instagram, and it's been really fruitful for us, you know. So,
He says he came home tonight.
oh, okay.
So I was going to ask, you guys get a lot of wind there, don't you? Some pretty biting winds.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably no more so than any other part of the country. We just got labeled a windy city, so you know.
It's more so because of the politicians.
Yeah, the politicians. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I hadn't even thought about the Windy City thing, but I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. You probably get more wind where you're located than we do. You're up high, so.
Oh man, I'm telling you, I want to put in a windmill for power because I get some crazy winds through here.
I bet. Yeah. Are you on the? You're on the west side of the mountains.
Let's see. I'm in a little valley that's positioned. Let's see. I've got mountains to the northeast of me and to the south of me. So yeah, and there's only 2 roads in, a north road and a south road.
Right.
We got. Go ahead.
Have you had any of those forest fires close to you that are rampant in the west this year?
That's just what I was going to bring up. We had a little fire here on the property a few weeks back. During the show, I was live streaming while the fire was going on and stuff.
Wow.
But so we had some fires on the other side of the mountain south of us, down by Roosevelt Lake and stuff. That we were getting. I think a couple days we got some smoke and stuff, but it never came this direction. But seeing all this stuff that's been going on in California, and I just watched that movie on Netflix called Paradise. Fire in Paradise is what it was called. It was about a town in California called Paradise that sort of got suddenly surrounded by fire and people couldn't get out and everything. And you know, there's only 2 roads here. If one of the roads gets gets closed down, well, in fact, the South Road, they did shut it down for, I think, 2 weeks. So that had me thinking a little bit. You know, I better have some good contingency plans in case something goes down around here.
You're out in the sticks there. Do you have to drive to Phoenix to get
Travel.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
that your
it's a-
Texas major city, that Phoenix?
Yeah, 3-hour drive.
Oh,
my
wow.
gosh.
3 hours.
Yeah. 2.5 the way I drive, but
There you go. There you go. So if you want to go to a Walmart or a store or something, you don't have to go all the way to Phoenix, do you?
well, no, the closest Walmart, the closest two Walmarts are 65 miles and 80 miles.
Oh,
80
Um,
miles? Wow.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, there's nothing close. So you know, when all this, you know, when all the stupid toilet paper stuff was going
Oh, my
on
goodness.
and all that, it's just natural for everyone around here to have at least several weeks of stuff on hand.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, ordinarily.
Yeah, so we to us it was nothing, but yeah, and I'm glad because that was the one reason I wanted to get out of Phoenix. Was over the past decade or so, I've seen, you know, I always tell people that you don't have to worry. Generally, you don't have to worry about the thing that's going on. Like in this case, COVID. You don't necessarily have to worry so much about COVID. You have to worry how people react to it, because that, to me, that's more scary than whatever the thing is. It's funny though, you see all these crazy people on social media and on the news and stuff, but you never seem to run into them in real life. I mean, I don't think, you know, I always find it funny that you see all this stuff going on, and yet it's like, okay, where are these people? I don't know any of these people. Everyone I know is fairly rational and whatever.
Yeah. I remember when we did the Zoom call at the peak, our peak at least, of COVID, and I remember asking you about it. I think it was before we started recording, and you had, or it was either prior or after we were recording, and you had mentioned how your town is kind of secluded and you guys really weren't that worried about it at that point.
Yeah, the community I live in is 500 people, and to my knowledge, 4 people here got it and recovered from it, which that was the only concern I had, because most of the people in my community are retired, are older people. They, you know, I served on the volunteer fire department here for a while, and most of what we had all the time was medical calls. And I thought, man, if we get it here, it could be devastating, but it ended up being okay.
You probably only have tanker trucks out there. You don't have fire hydrants and things like that, right?
Yep, tanker trucks is it, man.
Yeah. Wow. That's old school, man.
Yeah, and if you saw our trucks, it's really old school.
You still do it?
What's that?
Here?
I don't. And the reason why I stopped was because I was traveling so much that I started at a time when I was in a slow season for travel. So I did all the training. I went down to Phoenix and trained with the Phoenix Fire Department, and I was going on a lot of calls, and you know, I was really enjoying it. But then when I started traveling a lot, I felt like I was starting to get in the way on some of the calls, because some things I started to forget, and I was like, crap, I don't want to get in the way here. But the nice thing about, I think the nice thing about COVID is that it has really opened up people's minds to the idea of working remotely. My company does that anyways, but it seems to be becoming more acceptable and stuff. So if that's the case, in theory, I can not travel so much, and I could get back on the group, because I've told them I'd like to come back on. it's fun, you know.
I'm sure it could get interesting.
I've worked a couple fires, nothing too big. And most of what we have here is woodland fires, which are a different animal than structure fires and stuff generally. Well, guys, that's about all I have for questions for you.
That's it. You don't have anything else for me? I hope we answered everything
almost 2 hours.
adequately and concisely for you.
No, I absolutely think you guys did, and it was good conversation because it got my brain thinking about some things, and
I mean, cigars are simple. I mean, it's nothing difficult. We don't want to introduce a variable into this that's going to complicate people's life. We're not. That's not what we are. We're simple people, you know. So
right.
I'm not a scientist, you know. But you know, there are certain things about it that we didn't know about that uncovered a lot of things that, you know. And like I said, at the price point that it's at, we hope people just say, hey, why not? Give it a shot. And hopefully they'll see, like, you know what, this thing was a good investment for me, you know, and it saved me from smoking. You don't want to say a bad cigar, but when you smoke a cigar that's 72 or 75, like that one you got, you might be questioning it as opposed to if it's 10 points less. You know, you might be saying, well, I didn't enjoy that cigar. But now you know why, potentially, right? So
yeah, I mean, a lot of times you'll get more bitterness out of a cigar that's over humidified.
Right.
Simply, honestly, as much time is put into every single cigar that everybody smokes, time and effort, money, it's meant to be smoked at a certain humidity to gain the fullest amount of pleasure from it. It's meant to be smoked at a certain humidity, and this device helps it. And honestly, talking to you every time is always a pleasure because you were one of those guys that when you first heard about the meter, saw the meter, you I don't want to say you were against it, but you didn't understand it. I
was skeptical. Yeah,
you were skeptical for sure. So every time we talk, it's always a pleasure that there's more and more of Vics out there that email us and tell us, you know, wow, we didn't understand it at first, we didn't like it at first, but now we're full on believers of it, you know. So simple little device.
You know, I part of what really helped me, you know, get out of that skepticism and stuff was having one so that I could use it over a period of time and really. Right. You know, look at my cigars and say, okay, I think this, or you know, for me, the big thing was there were a couple places that I would order cigars from that whenever I got them, I'd open the package up and I'd be like, oh crap, I can tell these are too dry, man. They feel like it, and so, you know, just being able to tell, okay, how's the cigar doing now? 2 weeks later, can I smoke it yet, or whatever? Yeah. I did have another question for you guys, though.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this before, but for the people in the chat and stuff, how did you guys come together? How'd the three of you team up?
You know what? We're first and foremost, we're family, so we're together regardless. So
we're brothers, and Louis our cousin.
Oh, cousin. Okay. For some reason, I forgot that, or I didn't know that, or I don't know. That's pretty.
To be their uncle.
we're together regardless, and then just enjoying cigars together and coming up with these little ideas and expanding on them. We formed a company out of it, and you know what? A lot of people are gaining the pleasure from the device from the company we started, you know. So we didn't plan it; it just happened.
So how long have the two of you smoked?
You know, I don't know if I should admit it, but
I smoke more now than I did in the past.
That's it. Huh?
I typically smoke cigars here and there on the golf course. Like 5-10 years ago,
Okay.
I wasn't really into it. The more I hang out with Lou, the more he would talk about cigars. He would give me some. I would have more and more. And then years later, we came up with this company. Now I'm having cigars, not as much as Lou smokes, but I'll have a couple a week.
Okay.
Especially during the summertime, I'll have maybe one every other day.
Okay.
If I'm on the golf course, I'll have one on the front nine, one on the back nine.
You know what? Honestly, it just like a lot of people out there that smoke cigars. I was one of those guys that would just walk into a cigar shop and, like Johnny said, grab one for the night out or grab one for the golf course. And smoking more and more, I learned to appreciate what it does to you. You know, so it's, for me at least, it's so relaxing, so calming. It's so, socially with not only Lou and Johnny, but with other friends now, you appreciate. And I could now say that I could tell the difference between one cigar and another. And 3 years ago, I was just smoking cigars on the weekends, and I didn't really know what a good cigar was from a bad cigar. So, this company helped me evolve into, I would say, an above average cigar smoker.
Okay. Nice.
For me, Vic, it's I don't know about you, but you've probably been smoking a long time too. I feel like this is the golden age of cigars. I started in the late '80s or mid '80s, and all we had back was Arturo Fuentes and Macanudos and Ashton, and they weren't even all that great. I mean, I don't even know that they were even aged as much as they are now. And obviously the Cubans were the highest regarded cigars around at the time. But
Right.
Nicaragua, in my eyes, has just changed everything. I mean, there's so many awesome blenders like AJ Fernandez and John Huber. I mean, these guys make cigars, and and you pick up any one of their cigars, they're aged 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and that aged tobacco is just, I'm not one of these kind of guys. I know Kevin isn't either, because we are both partners in crime on there. I don't pick up a lot of the flavors that a lot of people do. I mean, I'll pick up the pepper and the cocoa and the coffee, but I just enjoy cigars because for me, they're an escape, from work. I own a business I have for 36 years, so I have my own set of issues and stressful problems, but it's an escape. I'll sit in my backyard, light up the tiki torches, and just sit here for an hour. It's like yoga for guys. You know what I'm saying? It's just like for me.
I love that.
But like I said, the last 5 or 10 years, though, the quality of cigars that I've been smoking compared to what they were in the 80s and 90s, I know Tommy and Johnny don't appreciate it because they just started recently smoking Nicaraguan stuff and a lot of the better. But I mean, the aged tobacco, I mean, to me, and you probably appreciate it as well. I'm sure you've been smoking a long time too. So.
Yeah, I'm right around 20 years. I think I had my first one in 2000. I think. It's so one of the things that I don't know. One of the things that I just kind of what's the word? So, sometimes I'll think of stuff, or I'll talk about stuff on my videos that I'm like, oh, wait a minute. A lot of these people have only been smoking maybe 5 years or something. They have no point of reference to that stuff 20 years ago or whatever. It's definitely been an interesting journey in seeing just how much it has changed. I think you're right. I think that right now it's just crazy how and it seems to be the case when something starts becoming popular. Some people just jump on the bandwagon and want to make money, but some people get sort of passionate and obsessive about it, and they're like, okay, how can we make this its absolute prime? and guys like Steve Saka and the stuff over the years, watching Drew Estate's growth over the years has just been amazing.
Right. Well, I think it's the aging that they all do now. I mean, who can afford to wait 5 years? You want to start a cigar company. I mean,
Yeah.
You got to be able to just compete with these guys. You've got to be able to age your sticks at least that long, and, I mean, now when I smoke a cigar that hasn't aged very well, or, they haven't aged, I mean, for me, it's like Cubans. I can't smoke a Cuban right off the truck. I got to let it sit for a year or two, Johnny brought me back a few Cubans from his honeymoon, which was over a year ago. They're still sitting in my humidor, so.
I should have smoked them myself.
Nice. Well, guys, I really appreciate you being on the show tonight. And I'll admit, I use the meter all the time, but I got kind of bad about not showing it on video and stuff. And I don't know, maybe a month and a half ago or so, I started making it a point of waiting until I'm on camera to use it more, and trying to help promote you guys some more and stuff. But
we appreciate that.
Oh, we obviously appreciate that, and in fact, Kevin uses it before his show, the I Tap That show.
Yeah.
His cigars are always like pretty close. I always ask him, like, wait a minute, it's so ironic that you never find a bad one. He goes, oh, I pre-test them before I put them on the show. So, because it would be nice. It would be nice for you to stumble across one that's like 47. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm not smoking this one tonight. I'm going to have to put it back in storage and grab another, So
Right.
Because that's the whole point. Because when you guys check them and it's always good, people are like, well, if it's always good, then what do I have to bother with it for? But you know what? I saw when you made your video on the humidimeter, you had that chest cooler, and you were checking some sticks in there that were like 37. You remember those?
Yeah. Yep.
Now, how long did how long did those take to come back? I was always wanting to ask you that question.
Oh, well, it took quite a while. I'm not one of these guys that I won't do anything like when the first time we talked and you said that you, because of your patience, you wanted to find something that would sort of shock it and get it to smokable right away. I'll be honest, I kind of cringe at that because I think that there's all kinds of things that can go wrong with doing that.
Oh yeah, no, it's not. It's not like it brings it back in seconds. You have to be very careful. You have to work with the wrapper first, and then slowly work with the insides too. I mean, it takes a few minutes, but I'll be honest with you, I got it to work, and it wasn't something that happened right away. But a lot of things can go wrong when you try to bring a cigar that's that dry back that quickly. But certainly, why do you have to wait 3 or 4 or 5 months to do that? So I'm still gonna potentially bring that, but more I get into it, the people that travel in the circles that we're selling these meters to, most of them don't have 37% cigars sitting in their humidor. You know what I mean? So a casual smoker might, a guy who just puts it in his basement and forgets about it. I mean, I don't know how we can appeal to those guys. They're not in cigar groups and such, but so that's why we launched the meter first, because we figured that was a better product. It was one of a kind, and it's something that actually. There's a giant spider crawling on my step right now. So, yeah.
Well, I tell you, it is a fantastic product, and
thank you.
I'm glad you guys came up with it. I mean, there's really no way that somebody else can sort of knock this off or anything, right? Because you guys have the patent on it.
Yeah, but it's unique in the United States. Yeah, it's unique, obviously. I mean, you're going to get people that might try to knock it off. I don't know. I mean, one of the things, like I said, that we did to give validity to this thing is that we introduced the calibration standard, which 50% of everybody who buys a meter buys a standard. So because like Caesar is checking his his cigars, a lot of times guys are like, well, I don't trust it. I don't know. If my Boveda says 69 and it's been in there for 2 weeks, why is this meter showing 57? It's a piece of garbage, Well,
right.
we sell the standard. The standard verifies that the meter is working properly, So It's not calibratable like a hygrometer, nor does it need to be. And that's another question people ask us all the time, because cigar smokers are always used to having to calibrate their hygrometers. But because of the nature of how they work, they need frequent calibration. This meter is pretty much measuring
Recalibrated.
current from one probe to another, you know.
Well, it's the difference between analog and digital. It's
Right.
all the sensors that are out there also are not calibratable, but they have something similar to your standard where you just kind of like the one I use is sensor push. Sensor push has a thing where you move it around on your phone and it moves the image around to make sure, okay,
Right.
I'm communicating with that device. But
Right.
so the standard is calibrated at what, 70%?
7.
It's basically just a resistor in there, you know.
Right.
That's all it is. And you know, you work with electronics, you understand that. So, like I said, the only thing that you have to be cognizant of is to make sure you wipe the tips, because the tips go into the cigar, and if there's oil buildup on there, they will impede the reading.
Yep.
They make the reading appear lower naturally, you know. So, but so that's why we introduced the standard, because most people want to know that thing's working, because they doubt it. Oh, it can't be right. You know, if my Boveda pack is 69 and I've had them in there for 2 weeks, why isn't it checking 69? Well, not all cigars acclimate at the same time either, you know.
Right.
But
Yeah, it's I run into it's funny how similar I run into the same types of scenarios and stuff in
right.
wireless all the time, and you have to. I'm always trying to decide, okay, at what point do I just geek out on this guy and explain to them why it's this way, or
Right.
just say, look, you got to trust the equipment. You just got to trust. And when I was a rock climber, I used to do a lot of rock climbing, some competitive rock climbing and stuff. And when I first got into it, I had a real strong fear of heights, and I didn't have a problem going up, but then leaning back in that harness and trusting that it's going to hold me.
Yeah.
And the guy that was training me said, look, you just got to trust the equipment. You know, that's what it's made for.
Right. So we're happy that you you came around on it, because it's important, especially for a guy as intelligent as yourself. It reinforces what we did. Like again, I take it to heart personally when people call it a hoax. I mean, I've been in business, like I said, for 36 years. Just to prove how honest I am, you know, in business, I still have the same customers that I've had 36 years ago, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a testimony.
Well, you know, and that's where we are, you know, and I tell them, Tommy and Johnny, that, you know, this is their first business, and this is where I come from, and I will not release any product before it's ready to go, you know. So, I mean, anything has flaws. There's always techniques. Even with the humidimeter, as easy as it is, it's one button, you know what I mean? There's no instruction manual. It's one button, put it in and check it, you know. It even turns off by itself, you know, so.
Yeah, I do wish so the light, you said the light stays on for 10 seconds.
Right.
But the little icons for like your battery and all that stuff, I think they go out a little too fast.
Well,
I'd like those to hang around just a little bit
Well,
longer.
all it is the battery one, and these batteries, we did it so that the batteries would last a long time, and we've had very few people, if any, say that the batteries have run down. And when they do, Vic, another good question is, I let purposely a couple of them run down, like I leave them on continuously, and the battery, when you have a low battery, the display is very weak. But the meter still continues to function properly, you know. So, and when you do have a weak battery, the battery symbol will stay on. So when you'll know.
Okay.
So you've
Okay,
had it
that
for
makes
how
sense.
long, and you don't have a battery symbol. If the battery symbol stays on, that means it's a weak battery. You got to change it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't changed the batteries in it yet.
Right.
It should last months and months.
And that's
He's had it
another. And
for
that's
a
another
year.
thing. Like I said, all these little things that I put thought into, because I didn't want the batteries to have people to change it every 2 months or anything like that. I mean, you know, we really haven't had anybody ask us that they've I don't know of anybody that we know of that actually has to replace the batteries. Now, we have had some meters go out that stay on accidentally, maybe 1% of the first run that we did. So we've replaced those meters for people. They still function properly, but the meters would never shut off for some reason. Maybe the timer.
I have another question for you
Yeah.
about the batteries. So what about doing a USB rechargeable, something that's enclosed and is just rechargeable?
Well, that's something to consider for the future, obviously. You know, we would definitely consider that. Especially if battery life is an issue. You know, you do that on objects where battery life is an issue, you know. But people still like to be able to charge it because that's how they charge all their electronic gadgets nowadays.
It's a cool gadget, guys. It really is. I mean, it's sitting here on my smoke chest. I use it every time I come out just to see where I'm at. And generally, I do. I'll remember your comment about checking them on camera. So, because generally, what I do is, I'll grab a handful of cigars and toss them in my travel humidor, and then I'll come out here because I'm not quite sure what I want to smoke.
Right.
And you know, so I can check one, and if it's not good, check another one. But I wish I could figure out what's going on with this one humidor of mine. It just I cleaned it out the last weekend. I took all the cigars out, cleaned it real good, made sure all the seal, the front seal was real good and everything. But I don't know what's going on.
Have you checked some of the cigars that are in that humidor?
Everything that's in there has been in there for a long time.
Did you check the actual cigars themselves?
Well, I do when so it's my Crown Heads humidor. It's all Crown Head stuff, and I smoke that the most. So I check them. I check them frequently, and generally the only stuff. Well, okay. So right now, because I've been in this issue for a couple months now, my cigars are starting to drop. And you know, so now I'm getting to a point where I'm getting kind of worried. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, everything has been good in there except for brand new cigars that I've received.
Right. Well, hopefully you get that fixed. It might be just the what is in there that humidifies the cigars? Is it like an Oasis or something like that?
No, I have 4 or 5 Boveda 69% packets, and then I also have there's another company that makes, like, well, actually it is Cigar Oasis, but they have another brand name called Humidimeter or something like that. And they've got these what are they? They're little gel balls that you put distilled water in them and they swell up.
Right.
Yeah, I've got a few of those in there as well. I've got plenty of humidity. There's no question about that. But for some reason, it's the only other thing I can think of is there's a fan in there that kicks on, and you know that fan has to somehow the fan has to get outside air, right? It's to do ventilation and stuff. Right. So I'm thinking that you know I've got to be losing air or humidity through there somehow.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about those types of humidors, so can't help you on that one. Sorry.
Well, guys, it was
figured out. So
it was fantastic talking to you guys tonight. I really appreciate you being on the show.
Same here, Vic. I appreciate it.
Same. Thanks for having us, Vic.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Vic.
Sorry about the glitch at the beginning. We thought we were covered, but you know.
Oh, it's no big deal. We got through it. Not a big deal at all. And everyone in the chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight and supporting the show. Caesar and Rob will be on the next show. They just had to play hooky tonight, I guess.
Yeah, thank you for all the people in the chat for staying with us. I know we get kind of boring sometimes with all this techno geek talk, but you know,
people dig it.
People dig it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might not understand all of it, but people still dig it generally.
Right. All right, Vic.
Have a good one.
Have a good one, guys. We'll talk
Thanks
to
a
you
lot,
again soon.
Rich. Thank you.
Everyone in the chat, God bless. Have a great night and a great weekend. And we'll see you again soon.